What's up, everyone? I'm Z, and this channel shows you the world through my lens. Okay, I definitely did not see this coming, that I would be reacting to something like this, but we got Nas dissing Jim Jones. Um, you know, th- I think from what I understand from my brief exposure to this on social media, apparently there was like some viral clip of some kid. I don't even know how old he was, but he looked pretty young. Um, Talking about um, Jim Jones versus Nas. Now I don't even know if that's where the conversation started, but this is a clip that I've seen, and he basically was trying to say something like Jim Jones is more relevant. Relevancy is a relative term. He may be more relevant to some, but anyways, I'm not gonna get into that. And then apparently it's like sparked some conversations. Jim Jones feels some type of way. He feels like he's a more um, I don't want to put words in his mouth, but he kept bringing up things like hits and Billboard charts and things like that. Which, if I'm not mistaken, was a mistake because I'm pretty sure Nasty Nas, has more top 100 or hot 100, I don't know, entries than Jim Jones. Now, you guys can definitely fact check me, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure like Jim Jones only has like two or three. Ballin'. Yeah, bro, listen. My history with Nas, I'm gonna just say it real quick before we get into the track. My history with Nas is I came to discover him late. I was a Jay-Z fan, okay? And I was introduced to Jay-Z and Biggie and these guys through one of my uncles who really loves hip hop. And I started listening to Jay-Z. And I knew of this battle that had happened between Jay-Z and Nas. But I never went and listened to it because I was a Jay-Z fan and people were saying Jay-Z got wrecked. And I was like, if that happened, I don't want to see it. I was young also at the time. Time passed and I became a Lupe fan. And Lupe is now one of my top rappers of all time. Absolutely, like I'm a huge fan. And Lupe, as much as he loves Jay-Z, is extremely complimentary of Nas. Okay? And he talks about Nas's album, The Illmatic. Okay, so this is where I get introduced to Nas. I start discovering his discography, listening to more stuff. I'm like, holy crap, this dude is like next level. Then Jay-Z does American Gangster. At some point on that, they're on a song together. I think it's Success I think Success. What do I think of Success? It sucks, too much stress. Fire, okay? And I really get into Nas. And then in recent history, I listened to King's Disease 2. I haven't listened to all of them, okay? So all of this is to say that, like, Nas is a beast. And I discovered that late in my life, but I discovered it. I've known Jim Jones music for some time. Now, if you were to ask me to compare the two, I'm sorry, what are we talking about? Like, what are we talking about? I don't know, okay? How this is a conversation, how people are entertaining this. Maybe I need to go watch it and people aren't actually entertaining this, but to me, this is not a conversation, okay? And that's despite the amount of information that I have. I'm sure there's people that have way more information than I do, are more educated on these artists than I am, and they could much easier dispel this conversation, which is stupid. Nonetheless, we're here. We have a diss. Apparently, this is going to be on a song with Raekwon, I think, on a song called the Omertà, which I believe is the Mafia Code of Silence. Now, that in itself, the fact that he was going to diss him on this track, when there are allegations of Jim Jones being a snitch, I've seen some of the stuff that 50 Cent dropped. 50 goes after everybody, so, it is what it is. I'm going to say one last thing. I did put timestamps so you guys can get to this part. But I'm going to say one last thing. Jim Jones trying to say or compare himself to Nas and say he's better. To me, he wasn't even the best member of Dipset. I'm going to just put it that way. Okay, let's go.
We the examples, we who we said we was, never faked it. Ones who were jury they couldn't play with. The ones who stayed rich. Details of my revolutionary ways probably get studies of CIA. Who has...
There's some crazy construction going on out there. Details of my revolutionary ways probably get studied by the CIA. Look, man, don't do this, Jim. Why are we doing this? We've already had some stuff being talked about. Talking about faking what you are, talking about staying rich. We know some of the stuff that's come out in recent history about Jim Jones and some of these members and their current financial status. Yeah.
Never faked it. Ones who were jury they couldn't play with. The ones who stayed rich. Details of my revolutionary...
Wasn't there a whole thing about them wearing either fake jewelry or wearing rented jewelry or something? I think it was something like that.
Ones who were jury they couldn't play with. The ones who stayed rich. Details of my revolutionary ways probably get studies of CIA. Who has true power? Brothers lift the cash, gas them up. Let a piece of ass driving crazy, that's nasty stuff. Notice how it's growing. All these suckers are gutless. Get a little money and turn into Uncle Ruckus. This ain't a stupid cartoon, no. I'm the truth, but you know. Now you feel like you Anthony Supply, trope you not.
Great reference there.
Stupid cartoon, no. I'm the truth, but you know. Now you feel like you Anthony Supply, trope you not though. Money bought you some gunzo. I tell it straighter than a hot comb. You a knockoff, you not from the cloth. Scary nigga, my natural instinct.
You a knockoff, you not from the cloth. You not from the cloth is already a thing to say, but the fact that he started with you're a knockoff, you're not from the cloth, you're fake. You try to portray yourself as designer, but you're just cheap knockoff. Bought you on the corner of the on a sidewalk. Come on, man. Come on.
You a knockoff, you not from the cloth. Scary nigga, my natural instinct is tell it real and let it sink it. I had to think quick and not let the weak win. Got smoke for me, beef with yourself. I be cheaping too hard to notice every week. If it's somebody else, soon as my
damn, I be chiefing too hard to know. Look, man, he's not the one. He's not the one. Don't do this. It's too late. It's already done. Did you say you want smoke with me? You're beefing with yourself? Bro, this dude's on some like philosopher like
cheap it too hard to notice every week. If it's somebody else, soon as my name's mentioned, lanes are offended. If words hurt you, it wasn't intended. But when it comes to my words, if I said it, I meant it. If the shoe fits, this one is for you, bitch. You got me confused with your fabricated form of delusion.
Damn. So he's basically saying if you got offended by something I said, I wasn't even mentioning you. And this is a very politely disrespectful way to say all of this. But he's like, if the shoe fits, then I guess this is for you, bitch.
This one is for you, bitch. You got me confused with your fabricated form of delusion. You're dusty, need to be bitch smacked. Face on the stump, feet on concrete. They want me tricked back. 30 on bottles alone, a mill in the rich facts. Excellency, users envious, they pretend to be us. Feminine traits fake, low-key they women disgusted. Lame for life, illicit them. Rich bums, broke is soft, speak on me like I'm a bitch or something.
Rich bums? Nah, bro. Listen, one of the things too that you'll never say about Jim Jones, and like people can come in and say like, look, he can make something super catchy. Ballin' was like this mega like thing that everybody was doing when it came out. You can have any type of argument that you want like that. But one thing you can't say about him, listen to this again and analyze the song structure. Matter of fact, I'm sure there's already one of those things where there's some of these pages on YouTube that do the lyrics and they'll color code. Watch how he's structuring this, the way that he's doing his line structure, his internal, external rhymes. And one of the things that he does is like, I don't know, say like you're trying to rhyme wave hit. Like look at the way the wave hit. And then he'll come through and he'll say an entire line and rhyme something with wave. So let's say he says shave, but he won't rhyme hit. Then he'll say his next line, and on that one he'll say shit, like, and make it rhyme. And so it's like this really, really amazing technique and the way that he's kind of putting this verse together, the structure. But that's what Nas does. Like when I listened to King's Disease and I went into it and I was like, man, can he like still do this? Because, you know, he has been not super consistent about dropping music. He like disappears for long periods of time and then he comes back. And you listen to King's Disease, you're like, dude, this dude did not lose a step. He's still that guy.
Rich bums, broke this off, speak on me like I'm a bitch or something. It's mind-boggling who they are behind the scenes. It gets spooky in Brooklyn, Bronx, Harlem, and all the Queens. It's Staten Island, real type shit. Dying species of real men. I feel that shit, yo.
Can you say that for me, please? I'm about to put it on this beat. Or you say whatever you want.
Okay, I think that's it. The person who put this up was just sharing some of their issues with copyright strikes and stuff, but it was put back up. So, man, listen, Jim. Not that you're ever gonna see this, but you just leave it, man. You got caught up in the moment. You got caught up in the hype. You said some stuff that like maybe you felt in your heart, but you yourself hadn't fact checked. Again, I've seen a clip of him saying, go check the Billboard charts, go check the Billboard charts. But I'm pretty sure you don't beat him in the Billboard entries and charts. I'm pretty sure. Anyways, I digress. Actually, one more point. I know, but one more point. I did also see, I think it was a clip of Charlemagne, who I personally don't like, by the way. But at the end of the day, this clip, he was looking up streaming numbers for the two, and I think Nas is still in like, you know, the high 7, 8, 9 millions, whereas Jim Jones wasn't even breaking 1 million. So I think you just got carried away. It's fine. It happens. We all have egos. But listen, man, like what Nas means to the hip hop world, this was just not the path to go down. You could have just said something respectful. You could have said that kid, maybe for him, that was his opinion. But Nas is a legend. Nas is like, his place is cemented, bro. And like, unfortunately, I just feel like maybe some places could say the same thing about Dipset and crew, but like, not all places. That's all I'm going to say, as respectfully as I can. If you guys are still here, I greatly appreciate you spending your time with me. Hope you have an amazing day. Let's hope this doesn't continue. Nail in the coffin is done. I'll see y'all next time.